When did you hear about Extinction Rebellion? And how did you feel? It's a very grassroots movement.
I heard about Extinction Rebellion, or I started looking into Extinction Rebellion in July, I'm pretty sure it was July, not June 2020. So quite late, relatively. I may have heard of them. They might have had a spring rebellion. I don't remember if they had the spring rebellion before that. I'm pretty sure they had an autumn rebellion, which I knew about, but not the autumn. I mean, there probably, I don't know, I might be confusing actually, but I actively looked into them and thought of them as something to join in July 2020.
The aim of this podcast is to raise awareness about climate change.
XR has 3 demands. And the third demand is that has to do with democratization, that the citizens decide what to do. And you can look up the 3 demands and you can talk about them. And of course, XR is about climate change. If you want, XR is like links the 2. Mm-hmm. Of course, there is always, and some people are worried about something called eco-fascism. That's a worry because they believe that under the, in order to save the planet, we might have to impose something which is not democratic. And it's a real worry, to take urgent measures, and that would be non-democratic. And there's actually a person who criticizes, and it's a person who I've met, and I would recommend looking into, called Mike Hulme. I'll write, so it's H-U-L, Mike Hulme, H-U-L-M-E. And that, it might be interesting. He might even have podcasts. It might be interesting to look up his work, and we can discuss it, or in another podcast or whatever, it doesn't matter. But because he's worried, because what he's worried is because the emergency of climate change is so big, we might have to compromise also on democracy, and he doesn't want to compromise on democracy, or that some people might do, and he's worried about that because he started off, even though he's in a geography department now, he started off and he was an oceanographer or a climate scientist, like a hardcore scientist, before he became a geographer.
I will look into it. This is interesting.
Yeah.
Due to COVID, carbon emissions has been reduced. The climate is getting better since we change our ways of living. We are studying, working at home. How do you see digital activism during COVID?
Greta Thunberg, Fridays for the Future, NXR are working to continue their activism and go and transition into digital activism. Yes, it is possible that there have been reductions, but you don't measure climate change, or no policy should be taken about climate change based on the data from 2 months or 3 months or 6 months. That's just bad science. Furthermore, if our house became our working place and we started working from home, that would be a massive, imagine if the toxic system convinced you to turn your household, which is your sanctuary, into your workplace. Wouldn't that be the ultimate win for the toxic system that we are against? So this is a bit, it's not clear cut that it's a good thing that we're staying and working from home. And before you think I'm too clever, somebody made the same argument for me when I was thinking that Airbnb was a good thing, because other people than hotels would benefit from, that's the democratization of the hotel industry, like that anybody can earn money. And this guy, this famous philosopher that I know, told me, look, Harry, no, actually it's a bad, because because houses used to be bigger earlier, or the private space used to be bigger, and now people are giving them out, and giving out that because they want to because they want money. Do you see what I mean? So I'm not being clever there. I'm just following somebody who was good enough to, not good enough, like who's kind enough to give me this insight or this.
Extinction Rebellion has a perspective on neoliberalism or capitalism.
Extinction Rebellion has 10 principles and 3 demands. It does in these, if I'm not mistaken, in one of our principles, we talk about something called toxic culture. Now, Extinction Rebellion is a movement. It's a movement that is global, okay?
Yes.
I mean, it's aspiring to be global, and it has reached far away. It is very strong. It is strong, or going strong and getting stronger in places like Argentina, Uganda, and sub-Saharan Africa, India, Australia, New Zealand. Yeah, I think we are, there's interest, there's stuff, like there's things going on, very interesting things going on. To get 2 people to agree on things, on difficult things, let alone 30,000, and get them to really understand and, to be in agreement, but substantial agreement, not just nodding their heads. The answer is no. Because it's a hard, like XR, don't get me wrong, XR wants to change the world, okay? I mean, if it didn't want to change the world and have a way to do it, then it wouldn't have been illegal in England, perhaps. And it is illegal in England. So it means that somebody thinks that it's a good thing that it's illegal. We might actually change the world this time. But anyway, just remember that what I'm trying to point out is that there's a lot of internal questions, a lot of internal discussion, and many, many different views. So that's why I started by talking about the 10 principles and the 3 demands, which you can find on the website. They're not a secret.
It's mostly probably environmental activists who will listen to this.
It's a very simple piece of advice. If you just go on Facebook and type Extinction Rebellion Cyprus and then click on join. It's a bit slow at the moment. You'll have to be a bit patient with us. But I'm in XR. What else would if I don't sell my own my own brand, what should I be promoting? If I don't promote my own thing, what am I going to promote? I'm not some guru or anything. I'm just as simple capitalist as everybody. We're still working on becoming a full chapter. Yeah, and by the way, the other piece of advice is read the principles and values and get engaged. If there's any people who are join anywhere or find out for yourselves, whatever, just as I said, I'm going to promote XR, what else? But there's plenty of ways to get engaged, but XR is one of them. And if you want to get in touch. You can find the ways if you're interested enough. You can just ask, who's presenting the podcast, and you can find out about the name of the interviewee. That's all it takes.